So a couple days ago I made myself a nifty little road plan for my auto hunting. And I figured let's revisit it and try and rank my ideas like on a tier list from A to D. And see if I today think the same way that I was thinking when I was making this list. So I guess let's get right to it. I prepared some screenshots of it and I'm gonna try and figure out why did I specifically want those things included. So let's start with Mukas. Mukas are those little cacti creatures that are, I think they're on the same map as Pekopekos. The Zeny per kill is about 27 Zeny per kill, which is not too bad. They're level 25 though, but you can probably one-shot them. They don't really have that much. Let's see how much health they got. 400 health. You can one-shot them definitely with a better weapon. Flywings, yeah, every monster drops fire. They also drop Gizarms, so I guess if you want an activated Gizarm. Muka cards not really useful, just the cactus needles and the green lives really. That's I guess what I was thinking about. I made the note that it's EDP's favorite guy, yeah sure. So I guess that's gonna be like a long-term investment, so I'm gonna go B. Because you can't make the Gizarm activated immediately, and you can't make EDP immediately as the game releases either. So I'm gonna... no, C, probably C. Because S tier is gonna be like, okay, we start farming there and we don't go away for as long as possible. A tier is like similar to this, but you know, it's gonna last a month or something. B tier is like, okay, the first 2 months maybe. And then so on and so on, right? Alright, so next up, Mandragoras. Mandragoras are in another one of those long-term investments. I'm gonna start them off at B, but let's get back to Mandragora, what it actually does. So roughly 34 Zeny per kill. They drop stems, obviously, like that's the reason you would be hunting Mandragoras. They're 140 HP, not a lot of XP, and pretty much just a spear. If the spear can get activated, then maybe it's a thing, but otherwise you're just farming them for the stems. Nothing has changed from regular Ragnarok. And while stems are extremely useful, right? You want to make alcohols, and then you make bottle grenades. That's about it. Acid demo is not gonna be there for a while, so it's definitely a long-term investment. I'm gonna bump them down to C, probably. The idea is there, but it's not gonna be something that I would be going after immediately. Then again, maybe let's check out how much the stem is worth. Okay, so roughly about 18 Zeny per kill. How much is it roughly? 34 Zeny per kill of Mandragora. 34 Zeny per kill on a 140 HP monster is not that bad. Maybe I'll bump them up to B. If we're gonna if we're gonna NPC the stems, if we're just gonna sell them to an NPC, maybe that's gonna be a decent Zeny farm. I'm gonna leave them at B. I'll revisit that after like 1 week of auto farming, right? Willow's next up. Willow. So I said, okay, I want a Willow card. Yeah, for sure, I want a Willow card. It's one of the better cards in the game, especially immediately right off the bat. 19 Zeny per kill, so that's a lot less than the Mandragoras, but also half the HP. What else is here? Trunks. You could make a Sakat. Nobody really cares about Sakat since we have the costume is kind of bad. We have the Siratura Academy hat, so nobody cares about Sakats. And you want the hat with a slot anyway for the Willow card. So yeah, not very long term at all. Probably a D farm, not gonna lie. Like once I get the card, that's it. I'm out of there. Maybe if the demand for Willow cards is like pretty heavy, then I'll go like C. But I'm gonna start them off at D. We'll see how that works. Snakes / boas. Strawberry target. About 82 Zeny per kill, which is probably the highest amount on this list, not gonna lie. 200 HP, also very little. The katanas are very cheap to an NPC, but there's Envy Tracon and Strawberry that kind of carry this entire thing. And Venomous Canines, right? Plus Flywings actually, and Snake Scale. So, wow, it actually turns out the entire loot table pretty much is worth something, right? The herbs are kind of complicated because herbs weigh a lot, and that's a little bit of a problem. You got free weight on the herb. But yeah, I don't know, if you set your character to use them as they farm them, then maybe they can stay there forever. Strawberries, for sure, very, very useful. This is gonna be like an A tier farm. Simply because there's gonna be so many people on those maps that it's probably gonna be hard to auto-hunt very efficiently. But if you manage to get like an empty channel, this is gonna be an A tier farm for sure. Zombies next up. But I'm thinking maybe an S tier even, probably S tier. Probably S tier. I'm gonna leave them out in S tier for now. Zombie. 68 Zeny per kill on average. That's why it's here. It's 200 HP. The loot table is really good. You got pretty much everything that you want in a good loot table. Zombie card is not half bad, not gonna lie. HP recovery rate plus 20%. Just slap it on some random sandals that you find and it actually makes a difference, especially if those if you already have some increased HP recovery, then this could actually be useful for once in the game's lifespan. I'm gonna place zombies at A tier. The amount of Zeny per kill is very, very high. The place is very small. It's probably gonna be a bit occupied, but not as much as snakes for sure. But then again, the loot is not as good as snakes either. So, you know, if you manage to find a channel that's not very occupied, there's zombies, there's skeletons, there's black mushrooms in there, which are actually the next point on the list. So black mushrooms are gonna go to the same tier in my opinion. Simply because of the crystal blue. We got crystal blues, and that's the point. You can steal from a mushroom, then maybe get lucky and steal a crystal blue every now and then if you're a thief. And you will have a chance of getting alcohol in there. So as poison spores and crystal blues. So that's, in my opinion, that's an A tier monster to target. Like, normally I would say do not target plants or whatever, but mushrooms definitely. Poison spores. See, poison spores are tricky because they're aggressive. They're one of the few monsters, I think the only monster actually in here that's aggressive, yeah. The only monster that's aggressive, and that can be very, very detrimental. So you're not gonna farm them in Geffen dungeon, obviously. You're gonna farm them in like maybe culverts, maybe that dedicated map where they are on with Smokies, I think. Alongside Smokies. Smokies are not aggressive, so that's cool. But the loot table is very, very good, right? You got blue herbs, you got mushroom spores, you got poison spores. Partisans not very useful, but you know, still there. Maybe for like early game, something. Carvo, obviously. Hat, just drop it on the floor. And yeah, the amount of Zeny is on average 34 Zeny per kill, but that's not why you're farming them. You're farming them because of the poison spores and the blue herbs. And the Carvos, obviously. So I'm gonna place them at like B, because they're difficult. They're probably gonna be difficult for anything else than an Acolyte in the very first 2 weeks. Simply because Acolyte can heal themselves, they got increased Agi. So, Acolyte or a Thief, probably, that's what I'm thinking. Then maybe a Merchant, now that I think about it. If you let your Merchant use Card Revolution, then he will probably survive Poison Spores. Because if you get swamped by a bunch of Poison Spores, you need to be able to like sustain that, because they hurt. Yeah, but and again, this is a long-term play. Like poison spores are not gonna be useful right off the bat. Neither are carvos. So here we are. Caramels specifically, and I did not include Bigfoots because everybody else is gonna be attacking Bigfoots, and you could be attacking the caramels. Caramels specifically because they drop codes, and codes can get activated into a 1-star code. And that 1-star code is actually really, really good for like Asura Strike champions. So I'm just saying. So if you manage to stack a lot of those codes and turn them later into an activated code, if we get that system, then yeah, it's gonna be very, very nice for you. Overall, the Zeny per kill is also not bad. It's 53 Zeny per kill, give or take. But they drop a lot of weapons, and that's a problem. So you're gonna have to like not make your character pick up the weapons, so you're missing out on about 7 Zeny per kill on average because you're not picking up the weapons. The caramel card is really good though, like one of the best cards, especially for early game. If you guys don't know, caramel card gives you 20% increased damage to insects, and it's a weapon card. So I'm gonna place caramel in A tier. Like, I would definitely have my character farm caramels, but do not touch the Bigfoot. So while everybody else on the map and on every channel is gonna be occupied with killing Bigfoots, you're gonna try and snipe every single caramel that's out there. And this is gonna be a farm that's gonna last for a while. The Zeny is there, they're not aggressive, they don't hit hard. It can keep going and going and going and going. Andre, which actually I think by just selecting Andre into my planner, I meant the entire anthill. Like, it's got a lot of HP, so it's gonna be a bit tough, right? It's got 1000 HP, and probably every single other ant also has 1000 HP. But they do drop aluminum ores, which are gonna be extremely vital. Obviously, they drop green lives. On average, they drop about 22 Zeny per kill, but the map is small. There's so many of them on the map. There's also ant eggs on it. So the whole place is just like, that's just Andre, by the way. Let's look up. I think De Niro. Yeah, De Niro drops the ring pommel saber, which can get activated, and it's actually one of the better weapons for like an alchemist, from what I've noticed. Like, at least that's my idea of it, right? And they also drop red blood. So if you stash the ores, if you stash the weapons, if you stash the aluminum ores, that's actually turns out to be a lot higher Zeny per kill than the 29, because you're not selling everything to an NPC. And the whole place is definitely gonna be occupied, but it's small. The respawns are really there. I think I'm gonna put it like at A tier, like another A tier farm location. I would definitely leave my characters there for a very long time. Once they can get a hang of this place, that they do not like get deleted in there. For sure, there's a lot of aluminum there to be found. And on that note, now that I think about it, I should probably also add archer skeletons. Wait, skeleton archer, there we go. I should add this to my planner. Simply because they drop Oridecan ore and hammers. I forgot about them. Hammers can get activated. Oridecan ore is very useful. Archer skeleton card is very useful. And the great bow can get activated as well. So these guys are actually fantastic. I don't have them here in the list, so I'm gonna bump zombies. No, zombies are gonna count for them. So A tier again. Cocos. Next up, Cocos. Coco. So I have a note here that obviously hoods and sandals, right? That's what you want. And yeah, obviously. But what else is there? They drop 31 Zeny on average if you sell everything to an NPC. They have 1,500 HP, so they're a bit more feisty, and they can actually hit. They can actually hit hard. They once every like couple fights, I had a Coco that dealt this, I don't know what skill is that, but it hit me with something, and it actually damaged my character a little bit. But if you can, I'm gonna put it at S tier. No, because S tier was supposed to be like a long-term farm. So I'm gonna go differently. I'm gonna move the pay and dungeon farms into an S tier farm, and then I'm gonna go Coco's an A tier farm. Simply because, well, hoods and sandals are gonna be in very high amount of supply. Like, these are good things to like search for and sell them early on, if you can manage to get like 3 affixed ones with flat HP or all flat SP and flee and all that stuff, right? So the most desirable affixes, right? Then yeah, sell them, make that money, and then move on maybe. So maybe really a B tier, now that I think about it. It sounded like a good idea on paper, but I don't see too many people running around with activated sandals and activated hoods, really. Like, I mean, the bonuses are there, but I mean, maybe. The bonuses are great, actually, now that I think about it. It's just that the supply is gonna be so high. We'll see. If the supply isn't as high as I expect it to be, it's gonna be an A tier farm. If it is, then it's a B tier farm. Next up, Rodafrog specifically. So I was gonna target Rodafrog specifically only. They are also on the map with Cocos, but there's a bunch of maps with Rodafrogs on them. But simply because of the card, right? The Zeny per kill is weak, it's only 16 Zeny per kill on average, and that's mostly because of the Flywing. But, you know, Costume Frog Prince Hat. Anyone? Rizifik, I'm looking at you. If you guys don't remember, Rodafrog card is an armor card that gives you 400 HP and 50 SP. Which is like a little bit over half as good as Pupa card in terms of HP, but it also gives you SP. So it's like your second best armored card in the early game, and a lot of people will be wanting those for like archers, you know, maybe swordsmen as well, stuff like this, right? Stuff that kind of suffers with SP early on. And this is gonna be a B tier farm because there's a definite supply, definite demand, as in it's gonna end. Nobody will be searching for Rodafrog cards in like the month 3 of the game, for sure. Like, so once you find them, you have them to use them, and that's it. You don't need more than one Rodafrog card on your entire account usually, right? Because it's usually just placed into armors that are made for leveling new characters, and that's it, right? So it's a B tier farm, but it's definitely there. Oh, I got Rodafrogs twice in here. Okay, never mind. So just put Rodafrogs next to each other. Amber Knights. Amber Knights, Amber Knights. These guys, 41 Zeny per kill, which is pretty heavy. You know, it's pretty nice. They drop bows. Bows are kind of useless. But they do drop Crystal Blue and Alunium, which is great. So that immediately bumps the amount of Zeny per kill on average a little bit higher. Because Alunium ore, you're not going to NPC that. You're going to sell that to people. Shells, snail shells, garlet. So not heavy stuff either. Just some amount of iron ore, which is not too bad. The costume doesn't matter really. Amber Knight card. What? I don't even remember the card. Check it out. Defense +2. Okay, so that's trash. And I'm pretty sure the map has Toad on it. Just like I left myself a note saying, okay, there's a Toad on the map. So the frog mini boss. So that's like a C tier farm. Maybe if you can manage to take out the Toad before you start out the farming, then yeah. Because nobody's gonna be on that map for sure. Like, if anything, maybe like one other person. So most people just go to the most popular spots, right? So that's definitely a plus. But there isn't really any... If you want to go for pure Zeny, how much HP these guys have? 265. Okay, these are very easy to kill. I'm just gonna bump them up to B tier again. Like, not gonna lie, we're getting a lot of B tiers here. We're gonna have to bump something down to C tier. Maybe Rodafrogs go to C tier, not gonna lie. This is like a one and done type of situation with Rodafrogs. Alright, next up, Creamies. Creamy. 60 Zeny per kill on average, which is very high. They have 340 HP. Where's the Zeny coming from? Honey. And butterfly powder. They also drop silk robes and creamy cards. Okay, that's an evergreen farm in my opinion. Like, you're gonna need honey for a very, very long time, right? It's not the greatest honey farm, it's 2% only, but still. Like, if you're auto hunting 24/7, you're gonna get a bunch of them, right? Silk robes they don't get activated, unfortunately. But they can be usable by, what? Archers, merchants, swordsmen, and mages, as far as I remember. No, archers not. Archers cannot use them. Archers cannot use them, yeah. Creamy card is an evergreen card. Yeah, I'm gonna go S tier. That's an S tier farm. They're so easy, especially if you're like a mage. You just like one-shot them with level 1 Earth Spike forever. And that's it, right? Next up, Pupa. Pupa. Obviously, it's about the Pupa card. But then again, it's an easy constant auto farm since you won't die to Pupas. And that's something to consider. It's an average Zeny per kill of 20. With, you know, Frakens and iron ores being your, like, golden tickets, so to speak, of the drop. Pupa card is obviously super useful. A lot of people will want Pupa cards, including myself. So I'm gonna bump them into A tier. Like, it's a farm that you can keep going and going. You don't have to stop. If you have like a weaker character that you don't really want to care about, you just let let him or her just do his thing at Pupas forever, and you forget about him. Just don't let him pick up the shields, and that's it, right? I mean, maybe you also want to get like a bunch of shields to try and like over upgrade, maybe. Like, I'm just putting it out there. I'm not sure about it, because shields do not get affixes, and shields cannot get activated so far, from what I've noticed. So I don't know. Maybe start picking up the shields later when people will start upgrading the some of their gear. Because at the beginning nobody will be upgrading the shields. I don't think that's gonna matter that much. People are gonna be upgrading the weapons. So yeah, that's the tier list. I think it looks good. Like, now that I'm looking at it, I think it looks very good. Like, I would definitely spend a very long amount of time in those places, in those 3 areas. So the Payon Fields, the Payon Dungeon, and the Geffen Field with Creamies for sure. And then probably I'll move on to those and just keep going down the list, basically, one way or another. So yeah, let me know what you guys think and what other ideas you have. And if you're wondering what tool I used to like save all this stuff, in midgardhub.com there is an option next to every single monster to add it to your road planner right here. Add to planner, boom, add it to planner, and then you can go see your planner, and it's right here. It saves in your browser, so as long as you don't delete your cookies and caches, it's gonna be here. You can share it with your friends by clicking the link. It's gonna share with your notes and with your targets, and they can import it to their own road planner, all that good stuff. So yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching. Again, leave a comment. What do you think about my list? Because I'm definitely looking up for a discussion. And join my guild. Join the Discord, join the guild if you're like a Zeny farmer like me and a market goblin. And I'll see you in the next video.